One thing which I knew was in July, we'd really decided that we were going to try and break the mold in the use of photography and have larger pictures than was the convention at the time in British broadsheet newspapers. So this gave me a lot of freedom when I was planning with the computer guys, the ability to write software, not me, them, which would enable us to use bigger pictures because no one thought it was possible. And even up to a few weeks before launch, we had to buy new equipment to allow us to use bigger photographs. This had really been forgotten about. Whittam Smith always said the design was the hardest part of the whole launch operation because he knew nothing about it. He knew what he didn't like, but he didn't particularly know what he liked. So the process began, and eventually we put some stuff together and we started producing the dummies, which were like real newspapers. All the reporters, all the photographers went out and they covered their stories, they covered their photographs, they sent in, we put them together and we printed them. That was a test of printing, of the equipment, of the journalists, of the newsroom, of the city desk, everything else you can think of. And it was very sad because as soon as the papers came back, they were ditched under top security. So basically, we had to put the whole thing together very quickly. But one of the fundamental ideas was that it would need to look like a newspaper which had been around for a long time, but it had lots of innovation. So the innovation was it was the first national broadsheet newspaper in the UK to use on-screen makeup or layout. It was the first national newspaper in Britain and maybe in most of Europe to use Apple Macintosh computers to produce computer graphics, which didn't exist before. They were done by union people in a very old-fashioned cut and paste method. I couldn't find any graphic designers who'd worked on newspapers in Britain, but I found a couple of guys from California who'd worked on surfing magazines doing rudimentary Apple Mac graphics. So we put the whole package together with bigger photographs, better quality, computer graphics, and a layout which was organized on a computer system, which had never really been done before. It wasn't format layout, but it was formatted in the sense that that was how it had to be produced.